I was raised in the Catholic Church. Never knew anything different than going to church regularly. While I attended the Catholic school, back then we went to church every morning, studied catechism daily at school, prayed daily, but it was memorized prayers. When I turned 20 years old, I married my best friend and joined the Methodist Church. Sunday school was always the highlight of my Sunday morning. In August 1963, God blessed us with 2 precious babies. The only problem was one baby had a severe lack of oxygen during birth and was quickly rushed to the nursery for oxygen and immediate care. It all happened so quickly that for a short time, I was without knowledge of what was actually going on. Then came the news. You have a baby with severe brain damage, and she will never be normal. Long discussions followed as to how we could ever take care of her. I immediately turned to the Lord for help. I struggled, I cried, I asked God, why did you do this to me? And I continually got the same answer from Him. My child, I have given you Cindy because I knew you would take care of her. I gave up the struggle of how I will do this and accepted the challenge, determined I would do everything I could to give her a productive life. Long days and nights passed, and numerous months were spent at KU Med Center. Surgery after surgery, braces, wheelchairs, therapy, special schooling, and more surgery. In early 1972, we started attending Community Christian Church, and our family was baptized on June the 6th, 1976. I'll never forget that most important day. Just knowing that we now belong to the family of God was most rewarding. In 1978, Cindy was faced with another surgery. They were going to insert 2 rods in her back to correct the curvature of her spine. Her right lung had collapsed, and they told us this would be a very risky procedure. But again, God blessed us with a doctor of outstanding knowledge, and again, with God's amazing grace, the procedure went much better than they had expected. I spent many days and nights on my knees by her bedside, praying to God to intervene on our behalf and spare Cindy's life. Hebrews 4:16 says, "Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace for help in time of need." This church family held a 24-hour prayer vigil for Cindy the night before and the day of her surgery. And through prayer, God's grace prevailed again. After a year in a body cast, Cindy recovered from this surgery, even though she had to undergo spinal cord surgery in 1981. Without God's amazing love and grace, we could never have made it through these torrential times. Such peace comes over you during these times because you know God's grace is sufficient. And we know He will never leave us nor forsake us. What a promise. In 2001, my 38-year marriage was dissolved. 2002, in the midst of Cindy and I moving to town, I was diagnosed with lupus, and my daughter Angela was going through a divorce. 2003, I lost my daddy. 2006, I had a heart attack. 2010, my oldest daughter Sherry was diagnosed with uterine cancer. 2011, Suzanne was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And now, as I speak, my dear mother is near death. I don't have any idea how you could survive such adversities without God's grace. He has been there for me every time I have called His name. God's grace is the power of God to do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. And the fact is, we cannot do anything for ourselves. Jesus tells us in John 15:5, Without me, ye can do nothing. How much easier it would be if we would just listen to the Lord and adhere to His promises, and always remember His grace is sufficient. I have been so blessed, and I always try to dwell on the good things God has done for us. I don't dwell on the past because I know our destiny is not canceled because of a mistake or failure. God is so good, and He will always give you another chance. By holding steady to my faith and by the amazing, abundant grace of God, I have survived. I have accepted the challenges of my life, and God has blessed me. I love Him, and I will praise Him all the days of my life. I remind myself daily that the times God has extended His grace to me is beyond measure, and I feel grace is God's redemption at Christ's expense.